Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Jane Johnston, realtor here in Victoria, and this is a show where we cut through the noise and talk about what's actually happening in our local market.
I'm Andrew Plank, also a Victoria realtor. We'll talk stats, timing, neighborhoods, and what we're seeing behind the scenes.
And I'm Jen Lowe, mortgage broker. I'm the numbers person of the group, and I'll chime in with the mortgage side.
Each week, we break down what the market means for you.
All focused right here on Greater Victoria.
No hype, no pressure, just honest conversations, local insight, and practical advice.
Let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. It is April 7th, 2026, and I'm Andrew Plank. I'm with the Vibe Collective, and today we also have our regular folks.
Hey everybody, I'm Jane Johnston. I'm with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and
I'm Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, you too. The gang's all here.
I'm coming to you from my office in the car.
Jane's mobile office. Yeah, we all have a mobile office, don't we? Jen, you have a mobile office, do you?
I will work in my car or work wherever I need. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a lending update. It is also our it's our show where we go through last month's, we've got last month's data now for the market data. So we're going to go through what happened in the month of March and see how that might be affecting our spring market. So Jen, without further ado, maybe you can jump in telling us what's going on out there in the world of finance.
Yeah. So right now, when we're looking at sort of our shorter term spring update, we seem to be in a bit of a holding pattern with a bit of upward pressure on rates. The Bank of Canada is widely expected to hold its policy rate steady through much of 2026. The next Bank of Canada meeting is April 29th, so towards the end of this month. Fixed rates may go up a little bit depending on what happens with the bond yields. They're currently elevated. So there we have it.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, Jen.
We'll see what
Any
happens.
questions for Jen or?
Well, I'm just wondering, so right now, who would you recommend as a lender and why?
Well, that's a bit of a loaded question because there's so many things that depend on the lenders that we choose. Right now, the credit unions currently, there seem to be the last ones that increase rates, which is great. So I've gone to them more so right now with pre-approval rate holds. And then now once a purchase becomes live, I'm going to them to get the full approval. What the current issue is that their turnaround time is horrific because they were the last one to raise rates. They're overloaded with applications. So that can become a bit of a challenge when we're also dealing with a financing condition removal date. That's shorter than what we want. So I always appreciate that communication with you guys and realtors that, hey, what do you need for that financing condition removal date? And right now, I would say literally 10 business days.
Okay. So 2 full weeks.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon. I mean, that's what we normally hear as I would say the ideal request from a mortgage broker, although we do hear also from time to time, yes, we can get this done in a short period of time, but that's for some of those, I guess, easier files and also certain lenders.
Yeah.
Well, and the issue too, like I'm not a patient person at all. It drives me absolutely nuts waiting to hear back from a lender, especially when I'm sending everything in on day 1 and I have to wait till day 8 to get an email or a response. And it's of no fault of the clients. Like, we're just in the queue and it's just not the only mortgage application that they're processing.
I don't think you can be in this business, whether it's real estate or mortgage financing, and not be an impatient person. You know, we are people who have to get things done We need to help
Yeah.
shepherd things through, and we need to make sure balls don't get dropped. So definitely my angst goes way up when I'm not hearing back from someone despite giving them everything they need, and then just goes into that black hole. Yeah, Jane is like,
Yes.
come on, people, let's go.
100%.
Let's go.
That communication, that time frame from
Yeah.
receiving an accepted offer to removing those conditions, every day I'm communicating with the clients to make sure that we know exactly where things are at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so that communication is what lowers the anxiety. If you're working with somebody and they're not communicating that well, that is so frustrating because you don't know what's going on. It's better to know that things are going to be delayed and it's not under your control.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a matter, like I do have to sometimes call clients and say, look, I'm giving you an update to tell you that there is no update.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have tried 3 times to reach these, the other agent on the other side or whatever it is. And by the way, that's not abnormal. It's really about setting expectations. So by the way, clients, it's not abnormal, but ideally we will hear back from them and they'll give us an update. But yeah,
Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
we have to stay on top of it. That's part of what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
shall we talk about
March
weekly
Madness.
stats? Well,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, first we'll go into the past week, and then we'll go into the past month. So, what we have here in the last week, in the last 7 days, 315 new properties came to market in the Greater Victoria area versus 292 the week before. And we had 116 go pending versus 136 the week before. Keep in mind, it was a 4-day long weekend, and people may have set their subject removals a little differently. So there's some things to that. There definitely would have been no new subject removals Friday or Monday due to the fact that the banks probably weren't going to be working.
Mhm.
Right, Jen? Yeah.
Right.
Price decreases, 101 versus 132 the week before. 91 properties expired versus 42 the week before. And I'll just do this one and then we'll get Jane to do the next set of slide. So sales to listing ratio is, I got to move this over so I can see, 36.83% this week. So we're a little lower on our sales to listing ratio versus the higher the week before at 46.58. So we're a little down, but again, it could be the long weekend that accounts for some of this. Jane, you have any comments on this, or Jen?
I think you're right about the subject removal. So 4 days were lost. I guess not 4, 2 days, 2 business days were lost over the Friday and the Monday. So a lot of people extended conditions a bit longer right now. I will tell you as a seller, it's a bit frustrating. As a buyer agent, it's a bit relieving because it gives you time to deal with issues that we are handling all the time. So, yeah, I'm a bit surprised that the price reductions aren't higher. I expect we'll see some coming up.
Of course, yeah, they tend to even out over the course of the month. But I would have, I talked to clients last week about some price reductions. And by the way, folks, watch my listings in the next couple of days for a couple of price reductions. But the discussion around that was, let's not do a price reduction just before a long weekend when we can't do an open house to take advantage of that. So again, that may be a reason why we are seeing less price decreases last week versus maybe what we'll see this coming week.
So I did an open house on the weekend and it wasn't bad. We had people who were focused, and it was interesting. The demographic of the people coming through, they were very a very particular buyer. So it was interesting to me.
Did they have little short little white tail and little fuzzy ears?
No,
Were they hopping down the open house trail?
Fluffy.
they were
Hopping,
all
yeah.
They were all professional couples who were interested in moving up from a condo into a house. And this is a 19, I think it's, oh God, I'm trying to remember the age of the house. Anyway, it's a more of a traditional house with a big yard, so
Huh.
it's nice. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Jean, can you read this? Do you want to take it away?
Let me see, because I actually didn't screenshot that. Two net unconditional sales so far. 642 last April, and new listing 132, and that's compared to 100 620 1,629, and our total active listing
I'm doing it too, just to make you feel better.
compared to 3,426 total active listings. So we're high. I'm just going to go back.
We are not high, folks. We do this completely sober.
I screenshotted all the slides, but somehow I missed that one. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a valiant effort, Jane, and I
Yes.
we appreciate you. Thank you.
A for effort.
A for effort. Okay, so any comments on this? Again, we're just first weekend of the month, so we don't have a lot to go on in terms of how to predict where it's going to go, but we can see that last year, we've got some catch up to do to get there versus last year.
I feel like we're low for
Yeah.
April so far, so
Yeah.
we'll see. Hopefully it'll pick up.
Again, we had an early Easter, so that might be part of it. Okay, so
I can
now
read
we
this.
are getting into the month, and okay, then go ahead, Jane.
All right, so 2 years ago we were around 2,600. That was May of 2024. So we were coming out of COVID, and we were accumulating quite a lot of listings, it felt like at the time. We followed our regular path of the spring market, a bit of a lull in the summer, and then hitting the summer market, and again going down in December. And you can see we followed that last year as well. And we are on track for our accumulation of total active listings. So right now we're around just over 3,200. So looking strong in terms of listings.
Yeah.
Lots of
And
choice.
now we're starting at a higher point, and we're starting our spring buildup, and so we are already, two lines, almost 1.5 lines above the 2024 low point. Our low point this year in December was about 1.5 lines higher. So we could get up above the 4,000 active listing number. It's very reasonable to expect we could break 4,000 active listings come this spring.
Yeah, so we were talking about that. Sean, who is my teammate, and I were talking about that today, and we were saying with the it's about 10% increase over last year. So that means whereas last year you're looking at 10 houses, this year you can look at 11. And what that does is it decreases the pressure on the buyer. So they're
Yep.
able to take a little more time to look at properties. And it'll probably mean if there's more properties online, we might see a little softening in prices. And when I was doing a deep dive into the listings, I was noticing that we are definitely in a micro market type of scenario now, where some areas are doing well and some areas are flat and some areas are actually declining. So it's interesting.
It's really interesting. Like I was just talking to my business partner, my teammate today. We were talking about Gordon Head and how a couple of years ago you couldn't find anything decent under 1.35 with a suite, 1.4 with a suite. Now we're seeing some homes under 1.2 with a suite in Gordon Head. And Gordon Head has traditionally been a pretty hot place to find a home with a suite. Now there's a lot more selection. And there's certain areas where it either feels like it's really hot and things are just jumping, or really slow and surprisingly so.
Yeah, and I think it has to do with maybe the core is a little softer than previously, and so some properties, like on the West Shore, Langford and Colwood, are actually a bit slower than normal.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we also, not only do we track the actual active listings, the total active listings, we track the listings that are coming on every month, and as well in the same slide, the actual sales that same month. So the line here is the sales per month, and the bars are the new listings coming on. And so this relates to the slide we just saw, where the other one was cumulative. This one is per month, but these bars will add to that number of active listings and the line will subtract from it. At the end of the day, what are we seeing? We are seeing, for example, when we look currently at March 2026, the far right, we can see that there are far more listings came on to the market than the buyers were picking up and buying unconditionally. You can see December 2025, it was almost even, number of listings coming on versus number of sales coming off. But if we look to, let's say, March of the year before, it's actually not too far off. I would say there were a few more listings in March of 2025. That line's just a slight bit higher, but not much. Mm-hmm. And the number of actual sales are pretty close to the same. So we're not far off last year in terms of that. In fact, Jane's just coming back in here. I think we lost her. Hopefully we get her back. Now we've got her twice. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide here. And this one's really interesting to me because I'm hearing and seeing some of my colleagues say, we're really moving into a buyer's market. But the stats here are actually showing the opposite as we've moved towards a middle balanced market according to this slide.
You know what though? The definition of a buyer market compared to a seller market has changed. So the board actually changed the range from, I think it was 14 to 20%, and now it's higher. So you have a 1 in 5 chance of selling right now. So I guess, I don't know if that's a buyer's market or a seller's market, but that's the reality.
1 in 5 chance of selling. That one always gets me a little bit. So, I mean, we're not seeing, 80% of the listings that list not sell. So when you say 1 in 5 chance of selling, do you want to explain that?
In a month. So
in a month.
It may.
Yeah. Okay, we lost Jane again.
So selling within 30 days of the list date?
Yeah. Yeah. So what we're talking about is, oh, she's back. We're talking about the list to sell ratio. And what Jane is saying is, for every listing coming on, it takes about, if the inventory stopped coming on, it would take, let's say there's 5 months of inventory, it would take 5 months based on the current rate of absorption for that inventory to be gone. So 1 in 5. Correct, Jane? Okay, she's bouncing around here a bit. So moving on, single family homes, the housing price index valuation for single family homes has been again changing over time. It is a bit bouncier than saying average, but what we've got here is 1.350 is our current. Jane's here twice now. Hello, Jane.
Hello, sorry.
So we're now on the single family homes. I believe this, pretty sure this is housing price index, but this might be averages. Anyway, it's actually been overall it's gone down, it's gone up. It's not like we're looking at a trend chart that's, on an upward trajectory or a downward trajectory. We can see since September 2025, a bump up, a drop down in the winter time, a bounce back up again as we moved into the 2026 market, and then a drop between February and March in terms of average pricing. Jane.
So when I was looking in depth at what was happening in the market, what I noticed was Central Saanich, North Saanich, Sydney were all very strong and doing well. In Oak Bay was even in terms of average price being like steady. And then, as I mentioned, some places on the West Shore were a bit lighter, a little softer. So when we're looking at this is why I was saying I think micro markets is a good terminology for this year, for this talk, because I think that it's really specific. So it depends on where you're looking, what you're looking for. Is you need, I think, a realtor to kind of really go in and really be granular about all the data here.
For sure. And, it all depends on your intention. Are you looking for the very best deal anywhere in Victoria? Are you looking for some great opportunities to get an excellent home for good value? Are you looking for, and do you want to be aware of where maybe, everyone's paying attention over here on these kind of properties in this kind of area? Maybe you want to pay attention in a different area, but your needs are your needs. And so just knowing that maybe now is the time versus maybe waiting and making a decision to make a move later. These are all, these all go into it.
Yeah. I was going to say, so if you want a specific neighborhood, you're going to be looking for one thing. If you want a specific price range, you can look on a price continuum where the activity is across the city.
Yep. Okay. So single family homes versus condos, I like to look at the difference in these maps. And again, that they're not trending along the same lines. They're not following the same pattern. Overall, we've seen a bit of a resurgence in condo activity that we were not seeing for quite some time. But it seems to have come back again this spring or late fall into the winter, and now maybe again a little bit down in terms of average prices as we move into February, March. And I think people are realizing that there is still a lot of inventory, as Jane was saying.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific opportunity to get into the condo market if that's what you want.
Honestly, I think it's a terrific opportunity to get into anything in the market right now, because prices do feel, it still feels like things are a little bit soft. They're definitely down from where they had been at some of the prior peaks. And I feel like we are moving, we will be moving back to some more solidifying prices in the next little while. There's just so much good selection right now that it's not always about price. It's about being able to find the home you like.
Yeah,
and
true.
There's a really good chance of that today. Townhouses, again, take a little bit of a blurry look, and overall it's pretty much straightforward. There were some ups and downs, but currently for the last couple of months, it's been up in the $850,000, just under $850,000 for the price point on an average row townhouse for Greater Victoria.
Actually, relatively speaking, compared to, like, since we've been doing this for 5+ years, the townhouse market looks really stable right now, don't you think?
Yeah, we normally feel like well, you know what? I feel like maybe, like when I look at the single family graph, that jumps around like I would almost expect the townhouse market to jump around at. Sometimes maybe there was a really expensive home that sold that changed the average, or there was just a funny month. But normally I think in the past, we have seen a much more bouncy graph for row townhouses. So maybe our inventory is growing enough that we are finally kind of getting away from that. what with so much growth and so much more builds over time, maybe it's just that maybe the market's matured, or maybe it's just that we've gotten lucky and it's a little bit more of a line.
Mhm.
Yeah. So benchmark pricing summary, and Jane was mentioning we've got this. We kept this for February. We did review February stats. So I'm going to do March stats, but we can also just review and speak to February as well, if we want to kind of make a comment about some of those differences. So I'll take this, I guess, because again, I don't think Jane can read these.
I can read it.
You can read it? Okay, go ahead, Jane.
Yeah. So just looking at March, we're at 1,186,700. That's up from 165 in February 2025. So that was interesting to me across the whole area. And February 2026 was at 1,150,000, and we're at 1,168,000 now in March. So I'm able to look at both at the same time. But it just shows me that even though it looks down year over year, we're actually up month over month. So that was
Right.
interesting to me. And then the core region, in February, we're at 1,319,000. Now we're at 1,344,000. So again, for February and March last year, it went up. Same thing, February 2026 was 1,307,000, and now we're at 1,330,000. So month over month, we're actually coming up a bit on the benchmark price. And then the peninsula, you go ahead, the peninsula and western region.
Sure. So Peninsula for February 2025, the benchmark price was 1,242,700, and going into March, it was 1,262,400. In March of 2025. In February of 2026, 1,238,700 versus 1,250,900. So definitely up again month over month, but down year over year.
Yeah, which is surprising because the other stats don't reflect that. Very interesting.
Well, these are more regional, right? Our core. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
West Shore region, February 2025, 1,041,600. March 2025, 1,055,000. February 2026, 1,004,800. And March 2026, 1,027,900. So definitely a good jump in pricing up month over month, February to March, but still down over the year before, 2.6 down over the year before.
So it's interesting to see that the pricing is coming. So February 2026 was 1,004,000 on the West Shore, and now it's at 1,027,000. So the prices are coming up month over month. So that is very interesting to me. I think it just speaks to the fact that people are writing offers and that they're willing to pay maybe a little bit more from last year.
More than last year. It still it doesn't mean that people are getting more than their asking price. It just means that the average price or the average asking price has gone up and the average selling price has gone up. I think, folks, that we have reached the end of our program today. Jane is happy about that. How do you feel about that, Jen?
That was good. Lots of good data and good information.
You're not sad this is over? You want to keep going?
No. Yeah, I always love seeing you guys.
Do you have any
It's always
questions,
fun.
Jen?
I find it fascinating that the stats always reciprocate how things are really going. Like when I'm looking at those stats, I see in this, February, March, definitely there's a bit of uncertainty in our world that I think also perhaps would have led to the decrease in the sale prices.
Well, we feel these stats in real life when we're working
Mm-hmm.
out there in the trenches, right? When we are doing real estate business, we are talking to our colleagues, we are fielding phone calls, we are showing properties, and sometimes you can feel the heat on that. Sometimes you don't. So it's always good to know what we're experiencing matches what's going on out there. Doesn't always happen that way, but overall it should and does. So hey folks, we're the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show, and we hope that you like what we're doing. So please give us a like. Also subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Comment and leave your comments and share your comments and share this show with anyone who you think might benefit from a weekly and monthly update on what's going on in Victoria, as well as specific timely topics about what we are experiencing in the market as well. And we do have guests from time to time. If you're thinking that you might like to be a part of this show, then please send us a note, because we can certainly include you in a future episode. I'm Andrew Plank. I'm with the Vibe Collective. I am a realtor licensed with Royal LePage. And you can reach me at 250-360-6106. Email me at info@andrewplank.com. And you can also find me online at my website, andrewplank.com, or the team website, realvibe.ca.
I am Jennifer Lowe. I'm with Modern Mortgage Group. My cell number 250-217-4925. Email is jen@jenlowe.ca, and my website is jenlowe.ca.
I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. My number is 250-744-0775, and you can reach me at jane@briarhillgroup.com. Thank you for persevering with this experience today. We hope you enjoyed the show.
Thanks, everybody. And good to see you all. And we will see you all in a week. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show.
We're here weekly, bringing you up-to-date insights on the Greater Victoria real estate market.
Make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you listen to podcasts so you'll never miss an update.
We'll be back next week with more clarity around what's happening and what it means for you.